Okay, this is pretty exciting for me. I'd been wanting to get out here for a long time, and I had no idea how incredible this place was until I got out here. This is the Townsend House Church and Cemetery. John Townsend brought his family from North Florida in the late 40s, which I'm assuming would have been under the Armed Occupation Act. They built a log home in this community, and that became more or less the center of this community. There was another Townsend house built nearby, used as a Methodist church, and it says the present building was constructed about 1880 on land donated by Joshua Mizell, and it says the cemetery has been in use since before 1854. It also says this area was the site of a substantial Indian settlement in the 16th century, which would have been right around the time of the Spanish incursions. So, as the disease that the Spanish brought, were probably being spread around this area around that time, and it's estimated that those diseases killed 90% of the indigenous Indian population, opening, of course, the way for the Seminoles to come in. Townsends are buried here. Mizells are buried here. We're going to go over to this section. This is the old section, if you will. Pretty neat stuff. There's something you don't see in Florida very often anymore. You've got citrus groves. A couple of years from now, those will all be torn down and homes for socialist voting Yankees to come in and continue the destruction of Florida. Anyway, we have a lot of family plots through here, which I thought was really interesting, really neat. Mizells, a lot of them. So I'm wondering if they're the same Mizells that are kin to Bone Mizell, cattleman who was instrumental in agriculture and livestock business in Florida. And I think he's buried in Arcadia. I haven't been to his grave yet. That's on the list, but I'm pretty sure he's in Arcadia. The Townsends, who settled this area, pioneered this area, are interred here, and they're over there somewhere. We're going to go over there in a minute. It's magnificent trees. Such a peaceful place on a hill. You can see why the Indians would have used it. The Indians were geniuses in picking out the best places for their homes. It's interesting too, though, that here's all the Mizells, a lot of them. That most of the indigenous pre-Seminole Indians were on the coast. The common consensus is that the stronger ones were on the coast because it was a much better living, either on the rivers, inlets, or straight up on the coasts. We see that a lot, like in everywhere we go. Because the living was much, I don't say easier, it was hard as hell, but it was much more plentiful. The fish and shellfish and all that sort of thing. And there's a Confederate memorial here. We're going to do a separate video on it. This is the quote-unquote older area, if you will. Really neat place. I had no idea how incredible. There's a lake there off in the distance. It must have been the Indians and these people's water source. Oh yeah, here's a reb grave right here. Florida Cow Cavalry. I didn't notice that before. Monerlands Battalion. Oh, good for him. Good job. These hills where we are in, gosh, we're north of Darby. I mean, we're a good little. I mean, we're definitely not near any cities that I know of. Dade City's probably 15 miles away, so maybe that's the closest one. I don't know. So it's definitely a out of the way place. I'm sure it won't be for long, but this is pretty cool. This is the Townsend burial gravestone. These pioneer leaders settled here in 1846, used their home as the meeting place for prayer and protection. When Captain Jack returned from the Indian War in '56, he gave his home as the first church in his section. Their lives were truly a light in the wilderness, and he and his wife were both buried here, both the same year, passed in the same year. Try to give a really good idea of what this place is. It's an incredibly beautiful place. I wonder how old these trees are if they were here at the time. And I have no idea, of course, where the Townsend House is. I don't know if anybody knows, or if they do know, they're not talking in true archaeologist fashion.